Some mobile games get 5-star ratings everywhere, but somehow nobody ever talks about them. They're not trending, they're not pushed by the algorithm, and they don't show up on the front page. But once you actually play them, you realize these are some of the best experiences you can have on a phone. Today's list is all about quality over noise. 10 mobile games people rate 5 stars, but almost never mention.
We're starting this list with Subnautica. We're opening this list with a game that completely redefines what survival looks like on mobile. Subnautica isn't about fast action or constant combat. It's about tension, discovery, and learning to survive in an alien ocean that doesn't care if you're ready. You crash land on a water-covered planet and every decision matters. Oxygen runs out fast, depth becomes dangerous, and the deeper you go, the more unsettling the world becomes. Instead of weapons, you rely on tools built for exploration, scanning creatures, crafting equipment, and slowly understanding how this planet works. What makes the experience unforgettable is the atmosphere. Sunlit reefs feel calm and inviting, while deep-sea trenches are quiet, dark, and genuinely intimidating. A subtle AI guide helps push the story forward, but the real narrative comes from exploration and environmental clues. The mobile version stays true to the original experience. Performance is smooth, controls are responsive, and different play modes let you choose between intense survival or relaxed exploration. It's the kind of game people rate extremely high but somehow never talk about, and that's exactly why it opens this list. Next up, Astrea Six-Sided Oracles is a roguelike that immediately feels different the moment combat starts. Instead of traditional cards, Astrea is built entirely around dice, turning every turn into a calculated risk rather than a predictable move. Battles focus on managing corruption. You're trying to cleanse enemies while carefully controlling your own meter. Push too far in either direction and you'll pay for it, but sometimes that risk is exactly what makes your build stronger. Certain abilities only activate when you're partially corrupted, forcing you to think ahead instead of always playing it safe. This is where the dice system really shines. Some dice are reliable, others are balanced, and a few are outright dangerous, but incredibly powerful if the roll goes your way. One decision or one bad roll can completely change the outcome of a fight. Between encounters, you move through a branching map packed with upgrades, random events, and challenging bosses. Each run unlocks new dice, mechanics, and characters, keeping every attempt fresh. It's smart, unpredictable, and highly rated, but still flying under the radar. Moving on, number 8, The House of Da Vinci 2 is a puzzle adventure that rewards patience, observation, and careful thinking. It builds on the first game's foundation, but expands the experience with more complex puzzles and a deeper narrative. This time, you're pulled further into a world inspired by Leonardo da Vinci's inventions, political tension, and hidden knowledge. The story unfolds quietly as you explore detailed environments, solve mechanical puzzles, and uncover secrets tied to powerful forces trying to misuse genius for their own gain. One of the standout additions is a time-shifting device that lets you step into the past to change objects and environments, then return to the present to see the results. It adds a clever new layer to puzzle solving and keeps interactions feeling fresh. A personal notebook also tracks observations and clues, making the world feel more grounded and immersive. Combined with improved visuals and voiced dialogue, the game feels more refined and cinematic. If you enjoy thoughtful puzzles with atmosphere and depth, this is one people rate highly but rarely talk about. Sliding into the number 7 spot, Monster Train is a deck builder that adds a clever twist to the genre. It takes the familiar roguelike formula and turns every battle into a layered tactical puzzle. Instead of fighting on a single board, combat happens across 3 floors of a moving train. You place units, cast spells, and manage limited resources each turn, then watch enemies climb upward if they survive. Let them reach the top and it's game over, so positioning and timing matter just as much as what cards you play. What really sets it apart is how interconnected everything feels. Units can boost each other, block paths, or completely change how a floor functions. Some enemies demand aggressive setups, others force defensive play, and most fights push you to adapt on the fly. Between battles, you move through a branching map filled with upgrades, events, and tough decisions that shape your deck over time. There are also special challenges and competitive modes that keep runs feeling fresh. It's fast, strategic, and incredibly satisfying, a game people rate extremely high, yet rarely bring up in mobile conversations. Coming in at number 6, Rush Rally 3 is a rally racing game that takes driving seriously. This isn't arcade chaos, it's a full-on simulation experience that rewards control, patience, and clean driving. The main career mode sends you across tracks inspired by real locations around the world, where every second matters. You're chasing the fastest times, climbing through championships, and gradually taking on tougher events as the competition gets sharper. What makes the game stand out is how much control you have over your cars. You can upgrade and fine-tune vehicles in detail, adjusting performance to match your driving style. And if you're not into deep tuning, the game still works great with simple upgrades. The physics are the real highlight. Different surfaces feel noticeably different. Car weight affects cornering, and damage actually impacts how your vehicle handles. One bad turn can cost you the race. Add in multiple modes like rallycross, time trials, and online races, and you get a racing game people rate extremely high but rarely talk about. Taking the number 5 spot, Legend of Skyfish 2 is an action-adventure RPG that feels like a modern mobile take on classic Zelda-style design. It builds on the original idea and expands it into a much larger, more flexible experience. This time, the game opens up into a full world to explore. You're not just moving from level to level, you're taking on side quests, managing gear, gathering resources, crafting items, and discovering secrets at your own pace. There's even a fishing minigame that fits naturally into the world. The signature mechanic is still here, a fishing pole used as a multi-purpose tool. You can hook enemies, pull objects from a distance, trigger switches, or interact with the environment in clever ways. New lore types add even more depth, letting you cut obstacles or deal damage creatively. Combat and puzzles benefit from expanded equipment options. Different weapons and armor change how you approach challenges, letting you tailor the character to your playstyle. It's polished, charming, and highly rated, yet surprisingly overlooked among mobile action RPGs. Landing at number 4, Besiege is a sandbox game that's all about creativity, experimentation, and letting physics do whatever it wants. The goal sounds simple: build medieval-style machines and use them to complete destruction-based challenges, but how you do it is completely up to you. You're giving dozens of parts and total freedom to design anything you can imagine: catapults, rolling tanks, flying contraptions, or machines that fall apart the second they move. There's no time pressure, so most of the challenge comes from testing ideas, tweaking designs, and seeing how far you can push the physics engine before everything collapses into chaos. The campaign offers plenty of structured levels, while sandbox mode lets you build purely for fun. A big highlight is the community workshop, where you can download other players' creations or share your own, turning the game into an endless playground of wild machines. Building with touch controls feels smooth and intuitive, and even when things fail, it's usually in a funny, satisfying way. If you enjoy tinkering, problem-solving, and creative freedom, this is a game people rate very highly, but don't talk about nearly enough. Coming in at number 3, Titan Quest Legendary Edition is a classic-style action RPG that drops you straight into a world of myth, monsters, and ancient legends. You start out as a simple hero, but it doesn't take long before you're wielding powerful abilities and taking on enemies inspired by Greek mythology. The game is built around exploration and combat. You travel through ancient regions, complete quests, and battle everything from minor creatures to legendary beasts. What really gives it depth is the class system. There are multiple combat specialties, each with its own skill tree, and you can eventually combine 2 classes to create flexible, powerful builds. Combat feels satisfying on mobile, especially with how responsive movement and abilities are. You can even adjust the game's speed, which makes grinding, exploring, or intense fights feel much more comfortable depending on your playstyle. While it's not without technical hiccups during heavy battles, the overall experience is massive, challenging, and rewarding.
If you're a fan of old-school action RPGs, this is one of the most ambitious ones available on mobile, and it's rated extremely high for a reason. Taking the number 2 spot, Zombatron Reboot is a tightly designed 2D action platformer that feels polished from start to finish. You play as a lone mercenary pushing through hostile underground environments, taking down enemies, uncovering secrets, and surviving whatever the planet throws at you. The core gameplay is fast and satisfying. Levels are packed with environmental hazards, destructible elements, and optional challenges that reward skillful play. You're not just trying to reach the end. You're encouraged to replay stages to improve your performance, complete side objectives, and experiment with different approaches. Controls are simple but effective. Running, jumping, and shooting feel responsive, and smart aiming makes the game comfortable to play on touchscreens while still supporting more precise control options. Progression stays interesting thanks to a steady stream of new weapons, limited ammo management, and upgrades that force you to think before every encounter. What really elevates the experience is the atmosphere. Lighting effects, explosions, and level transitions create a strong sense of continuity, making the world feel connected rather than segmented. It's intense, stylish, and incredibly fun, an action platformer people rate very highly yet rarely bring up in mobile discussions. Taking the number 1 spot, Nine Nights is one of those rare mobile games that feels like it came from another era, in the best way possible. It's a 3D action-adventure inspired by classic PlayStation 2 style design, blending martial arts, sword combat, and old-school exploration. The game plays as one long, continuous journey through beautifully stylized Chinese landscapes. Combat is fluid and responsive, letting you chain attacks, dodge mid-animation, and take on enemies with a mix of precise timing and movement. But fighting is only part of the experience. Just like classic adventure games, progression is packed with platforming and puzzle elements. You'll be climbing, wall running, swinging across gaps, and navigating traps to reach new areas. It constantly mixes action with exploration, keeping the pacing fresh. As you progress, you unlock new combat moves that expand your existing attacks rather than complicating the controls. Boss fights are challenging and intense, but the game is fair. Mistakes don't feel punishing, just motivating. It's stylish, confident, and completely different from what most people expect on mobile. A true hidden gem, and the perfect game to take the top spot on this list.